I didn't go back to sleep. The sun came up while I was still sitting on the edge of my bed staring at the rocking chair. It hadn't moved, not even an inch. In the daylight, it looked exactly like an old piece of furniture, nothing more. By noon, I'd convinced myself to see a doctor. A sleep specialist listened carefully while I explained everything. The waking at 3:17, the missing memories, the camera footage, the paralysis. He nodded the entire time. Finally, he said, stress can do remarkable things. He recommended a sleep study. A week later, I spent the night in a clinic with wires attached to my chest and scalp. The results came back completely normal. No sleepwalking, no seizures, no unusual brain activity. According to the report, I had slept peacefully through the entire night. For a moment, I actually felt relieved. Then, I remembered something. The chair had stayed at home. When I returned to my apartment the following afternoon, it was no longer in the corner. It had moved closer to my bed again. I bought 2 more cameras that evening. One pointed toward the bedroom door. The other covered the hallway outside. If something entered my room, I wanted to see exactly where it came from. 3 nights passed. Nothing. On the 4th morning, 3 separate motion alerts waited on my phone. Every one of them had the same timestamp, 3:17 a.m. I opened the hallway camera first. The hallway was empty. For nearly 20 seconds, nothing happened. Then, the image distorted, just for a fraction of a second, like a weak television signal. When the picture stabilized, someone was standing at the far end of the hallway. I couldn't make out a face. The figure was completely still. Watching my bedroom door, I skipped ahead, frame by frame. The figure never walked, never shifted. Yet somehow, with every few seconds of footage, it was closer. Not moving, simply closer. The final frame showed it standing directly outside my bedroom. Then the recording ended. I switched to the bedroom camera. The door was closed. The chair sat in the corner. The timestamp changed to 3:17. The doorknob turned. Very slowly, the door opened, but no one came in. The room remained empty. At least, it looked empty. The chair began to rock. Once, twice, 3 times. Then I appeared. Still asleep, I climbed out of bed exactly as I had before, head lowered, eyes closed. I walked toward the chair. But this time, I stopped. Not beside it, behind it. As though someone was already sitting there, I slowly reached forward. My hands rested in midair, as if they had landed on invisible shoulders. Then I smiled. Not a normal smile. It spread slowly across my face. Too slowly. Far wider than it should have. It wasn't an expression I'd ever made before. I leaned forward. My lips moved. There was no sound. The camera didn't record audio. But it looked unmistakably like I was whispering into someone's ear. After several seconds, I nodded almost respectfully. Then I pushed the chair 6 inches closer to the bed. Exactly 6 inches. I returned to bed. The room was still. The recording should have ended there. Instead, the chair rocked once more. Then, very slowly, the empty space above the seat seemed to bend the light behind it. Not enough to reveal a face, only enough to suggest that something was still sitting there. I froze the frame, zoomed in, adjusted the brightness. The pixels blurred together. But one detail remained perfectly clear. 2 hands, resting calmly on the chair's wooden armrests. They weren't transparent, they weren't shadowy, they looked completely real. Except they weren't attached to anyone. I looked away from the monitor, instinctively, toward my bedroom. The chair was exactly where the recording showed it, facing my bed, perfectly still. Then my phone vibrated again. A new motion alert. Live view activated. I hadn't opened the camera app. Someone else had.